going, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. Okay, so Jaleco and Natsume, two game publishers / developers who never really crossed paths, except for in this one instance. And the results were pretty good. This title was published by Jaleco and developed by Natsume, and was released here in the US in 1991, at the tail end of 1991. It's a side-scrolling action game, and it's a bit of a marvel of a side-scrolling action game. It's pretty awesome. Today's game is Shatterhand. Okay, so in Shatterhand, you play as this random guy who's sent in to stop an enemy's army known as the Metal Command, who are led by General Gus Grover. I don't know who comes up with these names, but yeah, they take over these military bases and start building an army of cyborgs to take over the world. Well, you're sent in to stop them, and this game's pretty much set up like a Mega Man clone, in that once you've beaten the first level of the game, you go into a stage select and you can attack each level at your leisure in whatever order you decide to go in. It's a standard side-scrolling action game where your primary weapon is your fists, or are your fists. Basically, you punch enemies in the face, which is the most awesome thing ever. You punch your enemies in the face, and eventually they'll drop things like coins. They'll drop these little letters. You use these letters. You use the letters in different combinations to activate these little floating cyborg buddies that follow you around and use different weapons to fight enemies. The coins are used to unlock health power-ups and weapons power-ups, which means that you'll punch a lot stronger. If you collect the same order of letters for those cybernetic buddies 2 times in a row, it'll activate this armor upgrade for your character, which will make him pretty much invincible for a set amount of time, and will give him enhanced attack abilities. This game features some pretty decent side scrolling platforming. You have to grab onto and climb chain link fences, things like that. It's a pretty standard game, but it's really well polished. As in most Natsume games, it's not the easiest title in the world. Actually, it's a pretty hard game. The bosses are pretty challenging. I'm not gonna say difficult. They're pretty challenging. Your enemy soldiers can gang up on you, but it's a solid game. It's a fun game. Controls are tight and responsive. Your soundtrack is amazing. This was probably, I want to say this may be better than Shadow of the Ninja, which a lot of people consider Natsume's crowning achievement on the NES. They published 2 or 3 titles on their own, and they developed this one and had it published by the folks at Jaleco. Well, this was probably the one that they probably should have kept for themselves and published themselves. Finding a copy of Shatterhand is not the easiest thing in the world. It's a really in-demand title, so when you do find copies, resellers are going crazy. They're selling this game it's starting at $20 to $25 for copies of it. I've had a hard time finding another copy. Yeah, and definitely, if you come across a copy, pick it up. If you come across a copy if you come across a reseller that has more than one at a good deal, you should probably pick up two. Because yeah, games like this, they only go up in value, so you should definitely pick up a copy of Shatterhand ASAP. It's an awesome game. This has been the 8-Bit Animal. I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow.